Hello, today I'm gonna read this book that, no, I'm not, I'm gonna read this book that is called Thin Ice. And you know, I have read this book to chapter 5. If you haven't seen that, look at that now. So you know the story because I'm gonna read the other part, okay? And now I'm gonna read. Achoo. Chapter 5, the pond. It was frozen water, all right. I felt a shiver run down my spine in summer. The boating pond was magic. You could go for a row if you wanted. You could take out a canoe. You could ride a paddle boat just like a bike. But in winter, the magic stopped. The park keeper packed it all away. The pond was just a pond after that. Unless it was salted ice. That's how it looked right now. I grabbed Kevin's arm. What are you goggling at? I hissed at the dog, Peter. What dog? The dog in the middle of the pond. Oh, that dog. The dog was so small and fluffy I hadn't seen it at first. In fact, I could only just see it now. Was it old or still a puppy? It lay. Baba, jag tror stänga dörren, okej? Bäst. Flat out on the ice at the end of the trail of footprints. Kevin bit his lip. Is it asleep, Peter? Maybe dead, I said. No, it's not dead. It's shivering, can't you see? It must have warmed itself out in the snow. Maybe it's too afraid to move, Peter. Wait. No, it's not another. Afraid of what? What? I didn't like to tell him. It wasn't a good time to talk about ice that cracks under you, or water so cold it can't stop your heart in mid-bed. Okay, so this dog had missed our school assembly. That didn't mean it was stupid. My little brother wasn't stupid either. Words just pooped out of his mouth. That all, Petty, he said softly. Yes, Kevin, you've got to save it, okay? Save it? Save it me? Chapter 6, big mistake. Chapter 6, big mistake. I looked across the pond. The dog was as still as ever. It hadn't even stopped shivering. Maybe we were too late, but I had to give it a go. If it didn't know who would, my little brother Kevin, that's so I broke a stick of a frozen bush nearby, and I stepped down into the pond. Okay. I must have been crazy. The pond wasn't very deep. Last summer in the boat, I kept hitting the bottom with my paddle. Also, the ice under my feet felt as solid as a rock. But I was still doing something stupid. I was in a panic as well, so I tasted the ice with a very step. Tap, tap went my stick on the frozen water, but at least I got the dog safe and sound. I bent down to give it a pat. Yap, yap, yap. I nipped at my fingers. It jumped over my arm. It zipped away like a rocket, all in a nanosecond. It shoot up the slope on the far side of the pond in a flurry of snow. That's when I saw the man who'd been calling out for the dog. He saw me at just the same moment. His mouth sagged open in shock. So did mine. I knew who he was. Who he was at once. It was Mr. Boston, the boss. His dazzling white hair was hard to miss. What was the boss doing in our park? Chapter 7, The Boss on Ice. Mr. Boston was looking for his little fluffy dog, or he was till he spotted me. Peter, he snapped. Sir, didn't you hear what I said in assembly about frozen water, about the way I can crack under it can crack under you, about it being so cold it can stop your heart in my beat. Were you asleep? No, sir, I heard every word. So you took no seat? No, sir, it's just that, yes. I wanted to tell him about the dog. He's a dog, but but I could see it was no good. He had made up his mind what to do. The boss always knew what to do. He shot the knife, he lifted a finger, he wagged his head from side to side. When he spoke this time, he kept his voice very cool. I think we was afraid. I might panic, Peter, he said. Don't move, stay just there where you are. That ice may look safe and sound, but you mustn't trust it for a moment. I will come and get you myself. He was coming to get me himself. It was the last thing I wanted. Another set of feet, ball-sized feet this time, on the frozen pond. That would be the end of both. Schaskadam. Hiç adını çavam. Baş. Undra komfortat. Of us, I looked back at Kevin. I could see he was bored as well. But what could the two of us do? The boss was on his way. He slid quickly down the slope to the edge of the pond. He peered at the ice and noted. There's a trick of this, Peter, he said. You mustn't stand with all your bulk on the spot. That's what shatters the ice. You've got to spread your body out. Do you understand? I think so, sir. Shall I show you? Yes, please, sir, I said. Like this, okay? He got down on his knees. He lowered himself into the ice in a sort of star shape. Then, using his fingers and toes to get a grip, he started to shuffle my way on his tummy. I have to tell you, I looked a bit weird. He never done this in assembly. I could hear Kevin sniffer a bit. I think he was trying not to giggle. It's hard not to giggle when your head teacher is creeping your way on his tummy. He was worn out by the time he got to me. That's how you do it. That's how you do it, Peter. He puffed me. Puffed is it, sir. You will find it in all the books. He rolled into his back, still panting. The ice and snow from the pond was stuck to the front of his coat. It was as if some of his hair has fallen out from shock. Shall we go back then? He asked. The way you did, sir. Or how else, say the boss. You can't be too careful when it comes to ice. What about them, sir? Kevin called from this side of pond. Them, those big kids at the top of the hill. They don't look very careful to me, Kevin pointed. There were 3 big kids up there. They were sitting on a huge sled. It was already on the move. It was pelting down the slope at top speed. They were coming right at us. Any second now, the sled would smash into the ice like a bombshell with all its bulk on spot. Chapter 8. Down and down and down. The boss didn't make a sound, nor did I. How can you speak when you're stiff with terror? We simply goggled at the looming sled. The closer it came, the bigger it looked. So did the 3 kids riding in. They seemed to hover over the pond for about 100 years. And then the sled crashed on the ice in front of us. Kaboom! The 3 big kids got off at once. Close up, they were bigger than ever, at least year 9. They gave the boss a puzzled look. Hello, sir, one of them said. Long time no see. What are you doing here? Is it one of your grand projects? Something like that, the boss shocked. Don't catch cold, sir. I won't. They stomped back up the slope with the sled. At the top, they swerved around, then they lined up for another go. I gazed down at the ice. How come it was so solid? The sled had landed a ton of bricks, but it hadn't even left a dent. Was this some kind of super ice? No, it wasn't. Certainly I worked it out. It wasn't ice at all. It was only coating of snow on the bottom of the empty pond. In winter, the poor keeper doesn't just pack up the boats and stuff. He drains the water always as well. I heard the boss give a dry chuckle. Followed the 2 of you there, didn't I? He said. Yes, sir, I said. Have you both learned a lesson today? You bet, sir, said Kevin. And so we had, but we learned about the dangers of frozen water. Had the boss also learned about the dangers of showing off. And that was all for this book. And this book was fun, easy to read, and good. And my best character was Kevin. Because I know someone in my class that's named Kevin. And bye-bye.